Here is another challenge. Find out the sum of all the alternate odd numbers. So what we have to do is create a function that takes an integer, say 15, and finds out the sum of all the alternate odd numbers. The key is alternate odd numbers. Let's take an example. Say we have 15. We want to find out the sum of all the alternate odd numbers between 1 and 15. So the numbers between 1 and 15 would be, so these are all the numbers between 1 and 15. And in that, we have to find out the odd numbers, right? So odd number. And in that, we have to find out not just the sum of odd numbers, but the sum of alternate odd numbers. Meaning, this is the first odd number, okay? Second odd number, third odd number. So there are 8 odd numbers. And in that, we have to find out the sum of alternate odd numbers. So the first one would be 1. We have to skip this one because we have to find the alternate odd number, right? We take the next one, we skip this, we take the next one, we skip this, next one, and we skip this. So the sum would be 1 plus 5 plus 9 plus 30. That would be around 28, right? So the answer to this challenge, if the number is 15, is 28. So how do we program this? The code is right here, but let's see how we can work this. So we know how to figure out whether a number is alternate or not, right? So let's just work on that first. So f to this function, a number is passed, right? The number until which we have to find out the sum. So let's say that number is number. Now, of course, we have to find out all the numbers starting from 1 until that number, right? So we say for let's say num in range of number. It's not actually number, but we're going to see the correction that we require for that. Now, print num. What happens? We are just printing all the numbers between 1 and that number that has been passed to us. So if we execute this, let's say we pass in 50, okay? Okay, 0 through 14, right? But we wanted 15 also, right? The last number also. So how do we correct that? So range excludes the last number, right? The Python's standard range function excludes the last number. So we say +1. Execute that again, and let's try this. We got 1 to 50. We can exclude 0 by starting off with the initial range of 0, like saying start with 1. We could do that, right? Or we could just ignore that 0 because 0 anyway is not a big deal. It's neither odd nor even. Okay, now we want to find out only the odd numbers, right? So what do we do to find out only the odd numbers? So we say if the number is not divisible by 2, it's an odd number. If it is divisible by 2, it's an even number, right? That's a simple logic. Now let's try to run this. See 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, right? Same thing here, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, the ones highlighted in pink. So these are the list of odd numbers. But what do we want? We want the list of all alternate odd numbers. Meaning, we don't want 3 here. We want 1, but we don't want 3. We want 5. We don't want 7. We want 9. So in order to do this, we have to have some kind of a flag saying this is alternate versus this is not an alternate number. And before we do that, we need to sum them up, right? So let's keep a variable sum equals 0, and then we want to put a flag. This flag is going to tell the program in the loop, in the for loop, whether we have found an odd number that is not alternate versus an alternate odd number. So let's put that flag here. Alternate equals. For now, let's set it to false because the first number is not an alternate number, right? So we need to consider 1. So 1 is not alternate. So we say alternate equal to false. Good. Now, if the number is an odd number, don't print it. Just set alternate to true, okay? And then sum equals sum plus number. So we don't need to print this, or let's just print this. Sum equal to sum plus number, okay? And finally, we want to sum, right? We want to return the sum. This function should essentially return the sum of all these alternate numbers. Okay, let's play this. Run this. Okay, we are setting the alternate value to true, but after that iteration, after that is set to true, you have to sum it and then set it to false, right? So how do we do that? We have to have some kind of an if statement there saying if alternate is true, set it to false. If it is false, set it to true, right? So we need that mechanism that flips the switch between true and false so that we only consider every alternate number and not every number, every odd number, right? So how do we do that? Let's write another if statement. So here is the correction that we need. If alternate is false, so the first time when this program runs, alternate is set to false. So this loop runs, and the first odd number, which is 1, is added to the sum variable, right? Which is good. And then immediately, this is the key, we set the alternate to true, meaning the next number is going to be an alternate number. So that's good. So the else doesn't execute, of course, and it goes back here, and now the value of the flag alternate is true. And it comes here, let's say it's an odd number, right? If it's an even number, nothing to do. If it is an odd number, then if alternate is false, this does not run, right? Because alternate is true. What runs then? So the else statement runs. In the else statement, we're just going to reset the alternate flag to false, right? So when there is these odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. For the first odd number, the value of this flag is false. So it's added to sum equal to sum plus 1, right? So that is 0 plus 1, 1. By the time it comes here, it is set to true. So this is not considered. So nothing to be added. Next time the value is false because we set it to false here. And 1 plus 5, 5 is added. This becomes crossed off again because we don't add it because of the flag. And then 9 again. And 11 is crossed off and 13 is added. So 1 plus 5 plus 9 plus 13, that is 28. So what can you learn from this program? The key learnings from this program is how you can use flags to vary your logic. In our case, we want to vary the logic by summing up only alternate numbers, not all the numbers, right? So we are trying to alternate this flag between true and false so that every other number is counted and not every number. So that's how you can sum up all the alternate odd numbers.